Coach, I asked the guys, about having a target on your back and the things that you guys have been able to accomplish in the last few years. How does it feel to come in and have a target on your back again and knowing that your expectations are high again?
Well, our expectations are always going to be high. They are for the kids, and we're flattered by the respect. But that comes from hard work, and that comes from what the kids have done in terms of buying into the program and having the success that they've had the last couple years. And it's really going to be up to them, if they continue to work and earn that respect.
The last couple of years, it's been a thing with you guys about working in the off season and how much that's carried over. I'm assuming the same again this year. So what have you guys been doing in the off season? Try and prepare.
That's been our mantra: is win the off season, win the off season. It begins with the strength and conditioning, and we go through different phases of a bulk phase, and then we get into a functional strength phase. But our kids have been all in, and they have been since the end of the season last year. And for us, they never really stop. It's become part of their way of life. They love the weight room. They literally love the weight room. So they want it open all the time, and you'll see the results whenever you start to see them in person. Especially some of the up and coming kids. A lot of the juniors have really changed their entire physique. The way that they look, and some of our skill players, you saw Aaron and John. Aaron's the thickest and the best shape that he's ever been in his career right now. And many of our skill kids are the same way, working very hard at their speed and their agility, and then also our ability to go out and compete at high-level places like 7-on-7s at Pitt and at different universities, and those are the things that we've been doing to prepare ourselves for the season.
You always say reload, not rebuild, and people look at a Jackson Doherty and losing someone like that, or the year before Colin Smith. So how are you guys going to be able to fill that role? Obviously, you still have some really good guys coming back.
We have a lot of good players coming back, but in terms of the role, the Jackson Doherty role will be filled by Sammy Sheeter. He was a kid that was our starter at quarterback last year for the first four games, and then he suffered a season-ending injury, and then John came in and did remarkable for us. So we're going to use him in that role. We have young kids in the waiting for the offensive line positions. Those guys are going to be tough to replace. Tailbacks, Kiri Miller is a kid who is in waiting for that. You're going to see Sam carrying the ball. You're going to see Aaron carrying the ball. So a lot of the advantage that we have, quite honestly, is the fact that over the last 2 years we've played 29 football games. So the fallout effect of that is that sophomore linemen last year and freshman linemen the year before and junior linemen, they got 4, 5, 6 extra weeks of practice time. They were going through chutes and hitting sleds and going through their fundamentals and being coached for those additional weeks. So they're heading into their junior years, and they've already have like 30 games under their belts. So that helps us in the preparation for the next year as well. And we have some kids that are ready to step up and some new faces and new names, but we still have 6 kids on each side of the ball coming back, and lots of other kids that have a lot of varsity experience to rely on. Cage Dowden's a kid, came up big in the playoffs. He's not listed as a returning starter because he wasn't, but he played a lot of minutes. So it's one of those things that they work real hard. They prepare, and when their time comes, they're called upon. They've been able to perform.
What's the biggest thing you think going into camp that you guys might have to work on?
Well, first of all, we lost all of our linebackers, so that's a big thing for us. We have to get those guys ready, varsity ready, and find out who our linebackers are going to be. We have to stay healthy. That's a big thing. We're not as deep as we've been in the past, and we can't afford to have guys go down. So we got to play camp very, very carefully and try to limit reps to some kids. Kids that need the reps are going to get the reps, and go from there. But we got to really 2 weeks to prepare for Homer Center, and that's where we're at because we don't have that extra week of practice anymore, and they're going to be a tough week 1 matchup for us. So we have to start preparing for them beginning next week with heat acclimatization, and then go from there.
Anything different on offense that you guys are going to be doing, or are you going to just keep trying to spread the ball around? And you always say, put the ball in the hands of your best guys.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's about matchups. Quite honestly, that's what we do. we try to create formations to get guys in space and try to create matchups that we like that are advantageous to our athletes, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But with Aaron being a senior this year, it's one of those things where he's got to get his touches, and he's got to get a lot of touches. It's not going to be as balanced as it is. He's one of the top players in the state of Pennsylvania, so we have to get him as many touches as we possibly can. And same with other kids. And that's been really the difficult thing that we've had the last couple of years, is that you get to the end of the season and our kids, a lot of them don't have eye-popping statistics just because they just haven't played as much. And get kids the ball, have them probably, I guess, try to get as much as they possibly can when they can, and try to stay as healthy as we possibly can.
It was kind of a sour way to end the season, being as close as you guys were to moving on. How are you going to use that as motivation this year? How's that going to carry over?
Well, it is what it is. On that particular day, it just wasn't meant to be. I can't. The effort was tremendous. The experience our kids got from being in a game like that was awesome. The silver lining is that kids that now are going to be thrust in leadership roles were the kids that were making the big plays in the second half. In particular, brought us back against Dunmore. You look, Sully Schultz had a big second half. Cage Dowden had a huge catch. We joke with him all the time that he probably would still be. People have signs up still if he had gotten in the end zone, but it wasn't meant to be. So those are two kids now that have confidence coming into this season that they've been able to do that on that stage. And it wasn't. It's tough, but you look back. We're in the state quarterfinal, and that not a lot of people were there. And our kids still feel as though that they could have beaten them. They didn't. That's part of it. So it's not necessarily sour, but it was tough. But everybody put forth the best effort they could.
How has Aaron dealt with it in the off season, and how do you think he's going to continue to deal with it as the season starts, with everybody having their eyes on him and get, they'll be after him, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's what he loves. He's, especially when it comes to football. This is his sport. He loves it unconditionally, and he would have it no other way. And he wants that on his shoulders. He wants the ball. He wants to do big things with the ball, and he wants to lead our team to possibly a three-peat. And doing it back-to-back is tough. Doing it 3 times is even tougher. So we're up to the challenge, and I know he's up to the challenge. And he's been used to it the last couple of years. It was no surprise that they knew who he was. But it's also, if teams defensively scheme to take him away, then we have to have other kids make plays. But I still think even if they do that, I like our chances of getting the ball in his hands.
How's the level of excitement been for you guys, getting ready to come into this year after going back-to-back with the conference and the district?
They haven't talked much about it. What happened was in the past. We say all the time in our program, play the next play. That's kind of where we're at. This is a new season, new kids. Those, Colin's gone, Jackson's gone. All those players from the past are gone. Now it's their time. They're excited to put their own fingerprint on the program, and that's really what we're really focusing on at this point. Those are all that fun and pageantry's over. Now they want to create their own history.
You guys had a tragic loss in the Ram family recently, and how has that brought the kids together, and how have they banded around that?
Well, it just brought the fact that we're a big football family, and brought us together even more, if you can imagine that. They've closed ranks, and they've really gotten strength from one another, because there was a great time of weakness and sadness in the Valley. But for us, it was really difficult because Joey was a member of our football family, which makes it even deeper. And our kids have rallied, and I think they're going to draw a lot of strength from Joe, and also his lasting impact with the leadership that he provided our football team, and just the type of football player that he was. A lot of kids can learn from him.
When you think about him, and you think hard nose, and I think a lot about him playing linebacker, and that's kind of how he was. So defensively, pulling that into back to the defensive side of things. That's been your guys' strong point for the last few years. How do you think that's going to hold up this year?
Well, I think two things. We returned 3 of our 4 stars on the defensive line, so that helps a lot. And one of those is Mike Petroff, he's only going to be a junior now, and right now he's like scary. I mean, that's the only way to really describe him. And then we have 2 good kids, Christian Jablonski, who's transformed himself. He's 6'5", 240 right now. And him and Blake Bridge both can come off the edge with their athleticism. And it looks like maybe 6'5", 305-pound Donovan Graham will anchor the other interior defensive line position. So that's a strength for us. The secondary, we're returning Zach Beitel, Aaron Totino, and Sully Schultz, who all had significant varsity experience, either as starters or at least half a season. And Andrew Kuzumchak, who's another senior, has been the story of the offseason. Our secondary is strong. We just have to find linebackers, and that's going to be the difficult part for us right now. Not because we don't have the kids, but they just don't have enough varsity reps yet.
What are you most looking forward to?
Starting actually football. Throughout the summer it's football and shorts, and that's great. You're running 7-on-7 stuff and all that, but we don't get too excited about it. But we want to get to camp, and that's really what we want to do.
However it may or may not turn out, how neat is it going into week 1 knowing you're pitting a district champion against a district champion?
I think it's exciting. But again, for both of us, those were last year teams. But it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of hype. It'll be good for advertising and media and those types of things. But realistically, both teams, it's not like we decided. It's not the same team. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And for us, we're going to get a tough challenge week 1 at Homer Center right off the bat. A tough place to play. It's going to be early in the season, and quite honestly, they're going to have some personnel questions. We're going to have personnel questions. So I mean that adds to the excitement and the fun. But our kids they just want to get back on the field and play a meaningful football game again. They've been working really hard to do that. So it's kind of like you see the presents under the tree all that time. It's finally time to open one, and that's really where they're at.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks.